Why did Reuben lose his birthright in Genesis 49? Jacob, the man, the legend, the guy who literally wrestled an angel, is 147 years old. He's sitting up in his bed in Egypt, his strength is fading, and he knows the clock is ticking. He calls his 12 sons into the room for one final family meeting. You can imagine the tension. These 12 brothers haven't always been best friends forever. There's a lot of history in that room. Betrayal, jealousy, and a whole lot of drama. Jacob looks them in the eye and tells them, "Gather round, boys. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen to your families in the long run." Jacob starts with Reuben, the firstborn. "Reuben, you're my first, my might, the beginning of my strength. You should have been the leader." You can see Reuben standing a bit taller, thinking finally some recognition. But then Jacob drops the hammer. "But you're as unstable as water. You won't be the top dog because you went and slept with one of my wives." Talk about an awkward family dinner. Reuben lost his birthright because he couldn't control his impulses. It's a classic lesson. Character matters more than your birth order. Next up are Simeon and Levi. Jacob doesn't even look at them separately. He groups them together like a pair of troublemakers. These two, they're brothers in violence. He's referring back to the time they went way overboard and leveled a whole city because they were angry. Jacob basically says, "I don't want any part of your secret meetings. You're cursed for your temper." He tells them they're going to be scattered all over the land. But here's the twist. Levi's descendants actually ended up becoming the priests of Israel. God turned their scattering into a holy calling later on. Talk about grace. Then Jacob turns to Judah, and this is where the mood shifts. "Judah, your brothers will praise you. You're like a young lion." Jacob prophesies that the scepter, the symbol of kingship, will never leave Judah's family until Shiloh comes. This is the big moment. He's pointing forward to the King of Kings. This is where the title, Lion of the Tribe of Judah, comes from. If this were a movie, the music would swell right here. Jesus comes from this line. Jacob starts moving through the rest of the group. Zebulun is told he will live by the sea and become a haven for ships, basically. Beachfront property. Issachar is called a strong donkey. It sounds like an insult, but it means he's a hard worker, though he might get too comfortable and end up carrying everyone else's burdens. Dan will provide justice, but is compared to a snake by the roadside. Small, but dangerous. Gad will be rated, but he will fight back. He's the scrapper who finishes what others start. Asher is promised rich food and delicacies fit for a king, the one everyone wants at the table. Naphtali is described as a doe set free, graceful and full of beautiful words. Then Jacob gets to Joseph, and you can tell his voice softens. Joseph, who was sold into slavery, falsely accused, and still rose to become a ruler in Egypt. Jacob calls him a fruitful branch by a spring. He acknowledges how Joseph was attacked and hated, even by his own brothers, but stayed strong because God held him steady. Jacob pours out blessings on him, blessings of heaven, the deep, and family. It's a powerful moment of a father honoring a son who stayed faithful through suffering. Finally, there's Benjamin. Jacob describes him as a ravenous wolf, fierce, relentless, who devours in the morning and divides the spoil at night. Far from weak. After speaking over each of them, Jacob takes a breath and gives one final instruction. "Don't bury me here in Egypt. Take me back home. Bury me in the cave where my fathers and mothers are." He wanted to go home. He wanted to be with his people. And with that, Jacob finished speaking, pulled his feet up into the bed, took his last breath, and was gathered to his people. Isn't just a list of strange metaphors about donkeys and snakes. It's a picture of a God working through a messy, complicated family. Every son had a different outcome. Some warnings, some blessings. But all of them were part of a bigger story that leads straight to the gospel. It shows that our past has consequences, but God's plan is still bigger than our mistakes.